The human memory possesses a fascinating ability to freeze time, capturing moments of cultural history and personal emotion in a singular, unchanging frame. When we look back at the landscape of popular culture over the last several decades, it becomes clear that certain individuals did not merely occupy space on a screen. They defined the visual and emotional aesthetic of their eras. Long before the advent of modern social media, where image curation is a daily ritual for millions, a select group of actors, musicians, and public figures commanded the collective imagination of the world purely through their presence, charm, and an indefinable quality often described as star power. Growing up, almost everyone experienced that distinct, unforgettable feeling of a celebrity crush, an intense and universally understood admiration for someone who seemed to exist in a completely different realm of perfection. For many, names like Josh Hartnett or Lance Bass served as the ultimate symbols of an era, absolute cultural icons whose youthful appeal was so overwhelming that it left a permanent mark on an entire generation of fans. They were, and arguably still are, the standard against which a specific type of Hollywood charisma is measured, making it practically impossible for audiences not to swoon whenever they appeared on television or movie screens. While time moves forward inevitably, and many of these celebrated figures have transitioned into later chapters of their lives with an exceptional amount of grace, the memory of their absolute cultural prime remains utterly vivid in the minds of those who witnessed it. This shared nostalgia creates a powerful bond among audiences worldwide, prompting a universal curiosity about how we perceive beauty, charisma, and talent across different decades. Before we dive deeper into this nostalgic exploration of Hollywood history and the timeless figures who defined it, take a brief moment to subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and join our growing community so you never miss an episode where we uncover the fascinating stories and hidden gems of the entertainment world. The phenomenon of the timeless icon is not restricted to any single decade or style, rather, it spans generations, uniting people of vastly different backgrounds in a shared appreciation for extraordinary individuals who possessed a perfect alignment of looks, confidence, and raw talent. Recently, this universal sentiment found a vibrant digital home through an extensive and deeply passionate online discussion, where thousands of people from all walks of life gathered to share their definitive picks for the famous men and women who were absolute, undeniable visual pinnacles in their younger years. This collective retrospective quickly transformed from a simple list of attractive celebrities into a profound commentary on the nature of fame, the evolution of media, and the enduring power of classic cinematic moments. The discussion highlighted how specific roles, costuming choices, and directorial visions could elevate a performer from a standard working actor into a permanent fixture of global pop culture. Participants in the conversation pointed out that in the mid to late 20th century, the mystique of Hollywood was amplified by the lack of constant, round-the-clock access to the personal lives of celebrities, which meant that when a star appeared on screen, their impact was concentrated, powerful, and utterly mesmerizing. This environment allowed for the creation of larger-than-life personas that felt both distant and intensely personal to the viewer, forming the basis for a lifelong appreciation that persists even decades after those initial films premiered. As the discussion unfolded, it became evident that certain names evoke an immediate, unanimous agreement, cutting through contemporary cultural noise to remind everyone of a time when these individuals represented the absolute peak of cinematic allure. The power of these memories lies in their ability to transport the audience back to a specific moment in their own lives, recalling the exact feeling of sitting in a dark theater or watching a grainy television set and realizing they were witnessing something truly extraordinary. This first segment of our journey sets the stage for a broader investigation into how these icons shaped our collective aesthetic standards, establishing a foundation of admiration that remains completely unshaken by the passage of time. The names put forward by the community represent a diverse tapestry of Hollywood history, ranging from the rugged, effortless masculinity of classic leading men to the ethereal, classic elegance of Golden Age actresses, and extending into the high-energy, vibrant starlets of the 90s and early 2000s. Each era brought its own unique definition of charm, yet the underlying thread connecting all of these celebrated figures is an undeniable magnetism that transcends the specific project they were promoting at the time. By looking closely at these shared cultural touchstones, we begin to understand not just the mechanics of celebrity, but the deeply human desire to celebrate and remember those rare individuals who seem to possess an almost supernatural level of charisma. The conversation serves as a vivid reminder that while trends in fashion, filmmaking, and technology will always change at a rapid pace, the human response to genuine, radiant star power remains completely constant, serving as a bridge between the past and the present that continues to fascinate us today. As the discussion deepens, the specific names raised by the global community reveal a fascinating pattern of how tension, drama, and pure cinematic presence combine to create unforgettable historical milestones. The transition from general nostalgia to specific vivid examples illustrates the sheer magnitude of talent that defined the silver screen across multiple eras. For instance, when analyzing the archetype of the rugged, effortlessly stylish leading man, one name commands immediate consensus without a single moment of hesitation. Even from the perspective of fellow men, Harrison Ford during his foundational years oozed an unmistakable, unparalleled sense of style and confidence that redefined the modern action hero. He was not merely playing a character, he embodied a unique blend of vulnerability, cynicism, and raw charm that made him completely magnetic to audiences of every demographic. This was an era where charisma was not manufactured through digital manipulation or hyper-polished public relations campaigns, but rather forged in the authentic fires of screen presence and sharp, deliberate storytelling. Similarly, the conversation naturally turns toward the timeless, ethereal figures whose impact on the visual landscape of humanity remains completely unassailable. Marilyn Monroe represents a cultural phenomenon that simply must be included in any serious conversation about grace, charm, and the sheer power of celebrity. Her image is permanently etched into the global consciousness, a symbol of a time when Hollywood glamour was reaching its absolute zenith and creating archetypes that would be studied for generations to come. This wave of admiration is not limited to the distant past, as contemporary icons continue to command the exact same level of reverence for their enduring allure. Monica Bellucci is celebrated not just for a singular moment in time, but for the entire duration of her illustrious career, remaining an absolutely gorgeous woman whose presence on screen infuses every scene with an intense dramatic sophistication. Her journey underscores the reality that true star power is deeply connected to an inner confidence and a profound mastery of one's craft, allowing her to command attention across decades without ever losing a fraction of her original impact. The narrative tension builds further as the community recalls the precise moments when certain actresses completely captured the collective heart of the movie-going public through roles that balanced immense emotional depth with breathtaking beauty. A wave of collective agreement washes over the discussion when Kate Winslet is mentioned, prompting many to wonder how anyone could possibly overlook her incredible contributions to cinema. In her prime, she possessed a perfect, radiant presence that seamlessly blended classic elegance with an intense, modern acting capability. Her ability to anchor massive, high-stakes cinematic epics while maintaining an intimate, deeply relatable connection with the audience showcased a level of perfection that few could ever hope to replicate. And her transition into later roles has only solidified her status as a beautifully aged treasure of the film industry. This sentiment shifts toward the realm of television, where the daily intimacy of the medium allowed stars to become an integral part of the viewer's personal life. Katie Holmes, during her iconic run on the landmark series Dawson's Creek, became the definitive personification of the girl next door, establishing a universal crush that defined the late 90s television landscape. The sheer simplicity and authenticity of her portrayal resonated with millions of teenagers and young adults worldwide, proving that sometimes the most powerful form of charisma is the one that feels entirely real and within reach. As the decades advance, the nature of these iconic roles shifts from gentle romance to high-octane, stylized blockbusters, ramping up the visual tension and excitement. The year 1992 marked a monumental moment in cinematic history when Michelle Pfeiffer stepped into the role of Catwoman in Batman Returns. Looking back from the vantage point of 2026, she still looks absolutely incredible for her age, but her performance in that specific film was a definitive 10 out of 10 in every single department imaginable. It was not just about physical appearance. It was a masterful display of supreme confidence, dark charisma, and a fierce, unyielding screen presence that completely stole the show and set an entirely new standard for comic book adaptations. Around the same time, the allure of the cinematic thriller and action genres introduced audiences to performers who brought a sharp, dangerous edge to their roles. Catherine Zeta-Jones caused a massive awakening for viewers worldwide when she appeared in films like The Haunting, delivering a performance so undeniably captivating that it forced many in the audience to re-examine their own perspectives on attraction. Her sharp features, commanding vocal delivery, and immense poise created a screen presence that was nothing short of overwhelming. This era of filmmaking excelled at creating moments of intense visual gratification, where the camera itself seemed to fall in love with the performers, translating that adoration directly to the audience. Similarly, the early 2000s brought a vibrant, high-energy aesthetic that is perfectly captured by Elisha Cuthbert during her iconic appearance in The Girl Next Door. She represented the ultimate contemporary ideal of the era, combining a playful, accessible charm with a striking visual appeal that left a permanent mark on the youth culture of the time. These specific examples illustrate how Hollywood continuously reinvents its visual language, moving from the structured elegance of the mid-century to the raw, kinetic energy of the modern era, yet always relying on the same underlying magic. The power of these performers lies in their ability to completely dominate the medium, turning standard scripts into cultural touchstones through the sheer weight of their personality and presence. Every frame they occupied became a piece of shared history, a collective memory that audiences carry with them throughout their lives, maintaining a deep personal connection to the stars who define their formative years. The tension between the past and the present becomes a driving force in how we evaluate these careers as we constantly compare the fleeting nature of modern viral fame with the enduring, monumental status of these classic icons who earned their place in the cultural pantheon through unforgettable, definitive performances that continue to resonate deeply with fans across the globe. To truly understand the lasting significance of these legendary figures, one must look beyond individual roles and examine the grand trajectories of their lives, which reveal the profound human journeys behind the famous faces. The final chapter of this exploration brings us to the individuals who did not just participate in the entertainment industry, but who reshaped its very boundaries or chose to walk away entirely on their own terms. Consider the unparalleled, almost mythic journey of Grace Kelly during the 1950s. At the absolute zenith of her Hollywood career, when she was the undisputed muse of top directors and the recipient of the industry's highest honors, she did something that remains completely unthinkable in the modern landscape of celebrity. She literally walked away from the glitz and glamour of Hollywood at her absolute peak to become a real-life princess. This extraordinary decision tells you absolutely everything you need to know about her options, her immense self-worth, and the timeless, regal elegance that defined her entire existence. Her path proved that true grace is not something that can be manufactured by a studio system. It is an inherent quality that remains completely unshaken whether one is standing before a rolling movie camera or leading a royal European principality. This pattern of enduring excellence and dignity is also beautifully exemplified by Mary Tyler Moore, who stood as an absolute radiant stunner from the earliest days of television broadcasting until the very day she passed away. She became one of the incredibly rare figures in that high-pressure era who managed to age with an immense, uncompromised level of grace, proving to a skeptical industry that a woman's charm, wit, and intellect only deepen and become more compelling with the passage of time. Her legacy laid the groundwork for future generations of actresses to demand respect for their multifaceted talents, rather than being judged solely by the fleeting standards of youth. As the timeline of cinema progressed into the late 90s, a new wave of fiercely independent, highly charismatic performers emerged to capture the cultural zeitgeist, bringing a completely different kind of energy to the screen. Eliza Dushku burst into the collective consciousness with her unforgettable, deeply impactful roles in iconic projects like Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Bring It On. She brought a raw, rebellious, and intensely captivating edge to her characters, perfectly embodying the complex, empowered spirit of a new generation that refused to conform to traditional, passive stereotypes of beauty. Alongside her, Denise Richards delivered performances in landmark films like Starship Troopers and Wild Things that instantly solidified her status as an undeniable, generation-defining icon. Her ability to command the screen with an intense mixture of sharp confidence and breathtaking visual appeal created a high-stakes cinematic tension that kept audiences completely spellbound, ensuring that her work from that specific era would be analyzed and celebrated for decades to come. This era excelled at creating moments where the sheer joy of cinema was amplified by the larger-than-life personalities of its stars, leaving a permanent mark on everyone who watched. For millions of young viewers at the time, Cameron Diaz making her spectacular cinematic debut in The Mask was a moment of pure, unadulterated cinematic magic. Her radiant smile, boundless comedic energy, and immense screen presence meant that ordinary audience members simply did not stand a single chance against her overwhelming charm. It was a definitive star-is-born moment that launched a legendary career, illustrating how a single, perfectly cast role can alter the trajectory of pop culture forever. In the exact same way, the conversation reaches a pinnacle of unanimous enthusiasm when recalling how a man has never looked more remarkably striking or effortlessly charismatic on a movie screen than Brendan Fraser did in George of the Jungle. His performance was a masterful blend of physical perfection, genuine innocence, and brilliant comedic timing that won the hearts of millions across the globe. His journey through the highest peaks of Hollywood stardom, followed by years of quiet resilience and a triumphant, Oscar-winning return to the absolute top of the industry, serves as the ultimate testament to the enduring power of genuine talent and human spirit. These stories remind us that the heroes of our youth are real people who navigate the complex complexities of life, aging, and changing industry dynamics, yet their contributions to our shared cultural history remain entirely permanent. Why do these collective memories matter so deeply to us as we navigate the rapidly changing world of 2026? It is because these iconic performers represent a stable anchor in the turbulent river of time, serving as a shared visual and emotional language that connects our past selves with who we are today. They remind us of a time when the magic of the movies felt grand, mysterious, and incredibly impactful, operating on a scale that feels distinctly different from the hyper-fragmented digital content of the modern era. By celebrating the absolute prime of these extraordinary men and women, we are not merely indulging in surface-level nostalgia, we are honoring the artistic dedication, the unique charisma, and the incredible cultural moments that brought us together in shared amazement. These stars define the aesthetic landscapes of their respective eras, leaving behind a rich, permanent archive of film and television that continues to inspire, entertain,